Cameron and Osborne's mortal errors in this whole episode is going after both us junior doctors and the student nurses at the same time. Because it's meant that we've had the opportunity to collaborate really closely in all sorts of campaigns together. And the person that spearheaded the Save the NHS Bursary campaign is Danielle Tiplady on XC.
Hi everyone, it's really nice to be here with you today. I'm a little bit nervous, standard. So I'm a student nurse at King's College and I'm here with you today to show my solidarity to the doctors but also to talk to you about the NHS bursary. In November, George Osborne disgracefully slashed the NHS bursary for healthcare students, replacing this with hefty loans of up to £64,000. This will be paid back from a salary which has lost 10% since 2008. Outside of London, this will be paid back at £900 a year. That's a lot of money from a nurse's salary. This will see nurses and other healthcare professionals pushed further into poverty. Nurses have already been reported as increasingly seeking help from unions with hardship funds, and nurses have been sadly going to food banks as well. This is appalling. With the capped salary and the government's austerity measures, this is only going to get worse and worse. How are we going to survive paying back this money from this salary when we are simply trying to do a job that we love? This isn't just about the money. As an NHS student, we work really, really hard. We do 2,300 hours clinical placement. During this time, we contribute to patient care. We do nights, I'm off a night shift myself. We do weekends, we work 12.5-hour shifts. In my current placement, I'm looking after patients who are really, really sick. They're living with longer-term conditions. I've been the privileged student nurse who's held their hand during their last moments. I've been the privileged nurse who has spent time with the family comforting them. I've been the privileged student nurse who has helped change and save the life of a patient and watched them walk out of the hospital with their family and friends. To take away the bursary is actually downright insulting. NHS students are the glue to the NHS, particularly in these times of austerity. The government removed the safe staffing guidance that would have seen a 8-to-1 patient to nurse ratio, and that is, with that ratio, it's the best patient outcomes and reduces risks and stuff. When the Tories got into power, they removed this straight away. We fill in the gaps. We're the people that go in there and work really, really hard to help out in the NHS. This is just disgraceful. The wards are scrapped to their absolute minimum, but it's not only us, it's the junior doctors who have been in a devastating battle with Jeremy Hunt and co, who are intent on inflicting unsafe and unfair contracts on them. Do not be fooled, this is not about money, nor is it about a 7-day NHS. The NHS is already functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was there all night last night, so... Jeremy Hunt is trying to impose a contract that will make doctors work longer hours, which consequently risks people's lives. The stark reality is that with this 7-day NHS, Jeremy Hunt has gone for the doctors, and next he's going to go for the nurses, the midwives, and all the associated healthcare professionals. Now, I don't know about you, but to me this feels a little bit set up. It's a little bit suspicious. It's a deliberate and meaningful attack. Jeremy Hunt is not a fool. His advisor, Simon Stevens, is heavily linked into private healthcare companies. Jeremy Hunt is a disgrace. He is an outright liar, lying to the public about weekend death rates. He is a poor and nasty... I don't know how he can sleep at night. He is an absolute disgrace. He treats us all with such a lack of respect, and he risks people's lives. This isn't just Jeremy, though. The Tories are trying to push healthcare professionals into exhaustion, make it so we cannot afford to do the jobs that we love, to care for the patients that we are 1,000,000% dedicated to, into making a change or difference in their life. The Tories are dismantling, destroying, and selling off our NHS piece by piece. The NHS Constitution says that the NHS belongs to the people. Well, do any of you remember being asked about any of this? I don't think so. Healthcare is a right and should be free for all. The NHS was built on the foundations, it's free at the point of entry, that it's based on clinical need and not the ability to pay. It meets the needs of everyone. Privatisation does not work. I've seen this myself in this placement, for example. The other day we had a 90-year-old lady who was really, really poorly and returning home for end-of-life care. We have to book transport with private companies now, and one of her medications was missing, so the nurse ran off to get it. If we have a medication after the patient's gone and we need to send it to them, it costs us £80. So this poor lady, the transport company didn't turn up the first day. The second day they came. This poor lady, who was scared and frightened, is on a stretcher. The nurses ran off to get the medication. She's not back in time. The private company are going spare, saying we've only got 10 minutes. We need to leave her. We need to go. We're going to get into trouble. This is the problem with private healthcare, and they place money over the needs of people. We cannot let our NHS become this. Daily as healthcare professionals, we see patients who are forced to live under cruel austerity measures. Some prime examples of these are within A&E. So we've all met the patients that have been kicked out of their home due to the bedroom tax, living homeless, visiting the department daily just so they can get a place to sleep and a warm cup of tea. This is disgraceful. Upsettingly, some of these patients actually go on to take their own lives because they live in so much fear. You also have the elderly patients, like the one I mentioned above, who live alone, who are living off limited means and small pensions, and social care cuts, which is a consequence of the 1.1 billion cuts the government have made. Only yesterday it was published, deaths rose by 5.4% in 2014. Elderly people have contributed for years, fought for us in wars, worked and been part of us all. They deserve our respect and help when they need it. No one should be alone. Shame on you to the Tories for making this a reality. Patients like these who have fallen at home and can't afford social care, and because of the cuts they won't give them any social care, they might have a stroke. The acronym for a stroke is FAST, which is face, arm, speech and time. Time is of the essence, and the more time that they're away from the hospital, the lower the patient outcomes. The poor elderly patient who was left on the floor and not found due to the Tories' austerity measures now will never walk or swallow again. Seeing my patients faced with continual appalling austerity, our NHS being slashed to its core, constant cuts combined with it all looks very bleak. But, as the saying goes, the NHS will survive as long as the folk have the faith to fight for it, and fight for it we will. NHS students have been taking action since the cuts to the bursaries, which has pushed us into action. And now the wider issues in the NHS and austerity within the UK as a whole. These issues affect us all. In December we demonstrated with 500 people. In January we protested with 5,000 people. We've lobbied MPs, we've been to Parliament. I debated Ben Gummer, he told me we have the same interests. I think he's mad. Yanis said, we also walked out for 1 hour with the doctors on the 10th of February to show our solidarity to them and to defend them. And unfortunately for Jeremy, we're not going to stop until we're listened to, so we're in this for the marathon, not just the sprint. The NHS bursary is being consulted in March. It actually got moved because it's that unimportant to them. We ask of you to lobby your MPs and get them to sign the early day motion 1081 to reverse the scrapping of the bursaries. Also, the March for Health, Homes, Jobs and Education on the 16th of April falls right in the middle of this short and seemingly unimportant consultation to the Tories, which we all disagree with. This is so very important to the future of our NHS, for our nurses, our midwives, our associated healthcare professionals, our patients, everyone. We call on you, every single one of you, to join us on the 16th of April. It is essential we have the biggest block of healthcare workers in history to show in force we are not standing for the Tories' intentional and abominable cuts to our NHS and austerity measures that affect us all. Moving forward, we're working on our next ideas, but actually we're waiting for the BMA to decide theirs, because whatever they do, we might do as well. And my final message is, although I seem to have mentioned Mr. Hunt quite a lot, it's important to know that this isn't just about him. He isn't the only problem. The whole Tory government are playing a role in the privatisation of our NHS and cuts to everything for the vulnerable, the sick and those that need the help the most. Usually, I don't know if you've heard me, I'm singing Hey Ho, Jeremy Hunt has got to go. Well, today I'm singing Hey Ho, the Tories have got to go, the Tories out now.
Well, if that's you being nervous, Danielle, God help us when you've developed a bit more confidence. That was